A vampire is a mythical creature that lives by feeding on the living's vital essence, generally in the form of blood. In European folklore, vampires are undead creatures that often visit loved ones and cause mischief or deaths in the neighborhoods they inhabited when they were still alive. They are often described as bloated and ruddy countenance, marked different from today's gaunt, pale vampires which date from the early 19th century. Vampiric entities have been recorded in cultures around the world. The term vampire was popularized in Western Europe after reports of an 18th century mass hysteria of a pre-existing folk belief in Balkans and Eastern Europe that in some cases resulted in corpses being staked and people being accused of vampirism. Local variants in Eastern Europe were also known by different names, such as Sharon in Albania, Varikoakas in Greece, and Strigoi in Romania. In episode 1, we have already talked about Chinese Jiangshi, so today we will talk about the Shanghai vampires, another horrible incident in Pudong, Shanghai. Shanghai Pudong vampire incident. Everyone has heard the rumors about vampires more or less. In today's foremost literary and film works, vampires also account for a large portion, like Twilight, Blade, Only Lovers Left Alive, etc. The main form of sustenance of vampires is blood. Because they are afraid of the sun, they only appear at night. At first glance, this is a humanoid fictional monster, but in the past years, creatures like vampires did appear in human society, in addition to being widely reported by the newspaper at the time. Even every household bought hammers and nails to prevent themselves from becoming food for vampires. After researching for information, I found that there are many different theories about the Shanghai vampire incident in 1995, but the more widely circulated ones mainly include the following 4 versions. The first version, on July 1995, in a mental hospital in Pudong, Shanghai, several mentally ill patients seemed to have gone mad for some odd reason. They kept beating on the wall and roaring like wild animals. It was already late at night, and there were not many staff in the hospital. The current duty officer glanced at the depths of the corridor, and there were bursts of roars coming from inside, but they just glanced back and went back to their work. Because this is a psychiatric hospital, they have long been familiar with such a situation, so they let the patients do things that ordinary people can't understand, as always, and pass the whole night like this. And soon came the morning shift at around 10 a.m. The doctor on shift took the materials and began to patrol the rooms one by one in order to check the patient's conditions. As a result, the doctor was so frightened by the situation in front of him that his legs went limp, and more than half of the patients lay down in a pool of blood. They all had a row of tooth marks on their necks, and the tooth marks on the left and right sides seemed to be especially deep. Another small group of patients had crazy and bright red eyes, but they seemed to be cowering in their dark wards, fearful. In the sunshine, the hospital called the police and dealt with it. This incident slowly spread in the streets and alleys of Shanghai, and there were more and more reports of seeing vampires. One of the reports is that if you walk in Shanghai at night on the road, you will see an old woman who is holding an umbrella even though it's not raining. She will quietly wait at the intersection. No matter what happens, she will just stand there like a statue. But once a girl in a red dress passes by, she will rush forward to overwhelm the girl like a beast. She will bite the blood vessels in her neck and suck the blood out of the little girl. After this incident, women at the time did not dare to wear red clothes to go out, and even school students. Even for the morning meeting, almost no one dared to wear a red scarf, go to the toilet, or even when throwing out the trash. People were so afraid that they had to find someone to go with them. The principal and teachers who saw the situation told the students that vampires were just rumors during the court or meeting or classes, so that everyone should not be suspicious. But it was strange. Schools were still worried, so the schools would always have extra staff at the time. They told the teachers who had free periods to patrol and check around school. In addition, people outside the school were prohibited from entering. Parents are also required to pick up their children in person at the school after school. If the parent does not show up, the teachers will take the students back to their homes, one by one. These practices were so extra that it seemed unnecessary. Even the Dongfang 110 news at the time reported the incident. Although the so-called refutation of rumors was carried out immediately, the next day it still made everyone panic. The second version is called the blood-sucking old woman. Older people from Shanghai should have heard this story. It is said that in a certain hotel in Shanghai, two girls in their prime came to check in. At midnight, one of the girls in red clothes, and after telling her friend, she ran to use the restroom. But after waiting for a long time, the girl never returned to her room, and her friend felt that something was wrong. The girl went to the restroom and called out the other person's name. "Are you okay? Why did you take so long?" The girl thought that she would get a response, but she only ran into a skinny old woman. It was very strange. She was wearing dark red clothes with a gloomy expression. The weird-looking old woman passed the girl and then disappeared at the corner of the corridor. After a short distraction, the girl shrugged and went into the restroom to look for her companion. The result was a scream of terror that spread throughout the hotel. The girl saw her friend, like a mummy, lying on the ground without blood, with 2 holes left on the neck, and the blood seemed to have been sucked out of her body. This is the first blood-sucking case, and with the police, no clues were found. After that, other areas of Shanghai also reported that the mummified bodies of young girls were found. The victims were all women in red clothes. These cases all have one thing in common. Some people at the scene witnessed a skinny old woman appearing out of nowhere. After these incidents were spread, many schools strengthened their defensive facilities, including students not being allowed to wear red clothes or scarves. They were picked up by parents or teachers every day after school. It also caused many women to dare not to go out at night. The third version is that a doctor who came to Shanghai from abroad is rumored to conduct secret biochemical experiments in the suburbs of Shanghai. But all the experiments on mice have failed, and the date for delivering the experimental results is approaching. The doctor had to do an investigation on himself, but the experiment failed again, causing the doctor's body to mutate. His nails became longer, his teeth became sharper, and at the same time, he craved for the blood of the mice and rabbits in the laboratory, etc. They were all sucked clean, and later the blood of animals could not satisfy him, so in the middle of the night, he attacked the surrounding citizens, and the death characteristics were like being sucked dry by a vampire. For this reason, the police sent an action team. Unfortunately, 2 policemen were attacked while chasing the murderer. Only the mummified bodies of the 2 policemen were left at the scene. No one knows whether the doctor was hunted down in the end, but rumors spread that the last place where the doctor haunts was in Hongkou Park in Shanghai. Although the official refuted the rumors many times after withdrawing the report on the vampire, it was impossible. What is denied is that the police did mobilize a large number of police forces at every major occasion and public place in Shanghai. Intensified patrolling, whether it is a school or business district, you would always see the police patrolling. All these extraordinary behaviors have aroused speculation from many citizens. The fourth version was also spread in 1995, a well-known Chinese Jiangshi incident. So many people speculate on the internet whether the so-called Shanghai vampire was actually a Jiangshi who jumped all the way from Chengdu to Shanghai. As time goes by, it gradually disappears from people's field of vision, and now only the older generation of Shanghainese will occasionally talk about it when they are full after drinking and eating. I have just finished sharing about the vampire in Pudong, Shanghai. Do you believe that it still exists in Pudong, Shanghai? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.